Test.
Yep.
Good. Hi, Richie.
Hi, Sin.
How are you today?
I'm pretty tired. How are you?
I'm excellent. Why are you tired?
I slept for like 3 hours.
Oh. Well, I have some good news.
We're not recording today and I can go?
Not that good.
Oh.
A couple of weeks ago, I made a tweet that said, Pop quiz. Can anyone tell Man Fight Dragon, aka Lance, the actual real name of Bergenworth? And so people did. And we all know that the real name is...
Dignity City. A place I am far, far away from and will never reach.
And so Rose was the first person to answer correctly with Dignity City. And the reward was, or what they won was, they would get to pick a topic for us to cover in a podcast.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is the first I'm hearing about this.
And so, today's topic is, how did the scholars of Dignity City go from transforming ROM using 1 chord of the eye to knowing that you need 3 chords to succeed?
It's a very good question.
It's an excellent question.
Yeah.
Oh, and Rose was nice enough to sort of even outline the topic for us more clearly.
Okay.
And they say, so the topic would be, what led to the discovery of needing 3 chords? Rose is much better at this than us.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rose.
They can just have the podcast now.
But the best part of this tweet was... Do you know what was the best part, Richie?
What was the best part, Sin?
Okay. So, Cinder Thief said Dignity City. Rose said Dignity City. And then somebody named Jedrick von Risco wrote, where did you get Dignity City? I can't even find that on Google.
Do you think this is going to be the new meme? Like, you thought it would be Ludwig killed Maria, but now it's turning into everyone just calls Bergenworth Dignity City.
I think so.
I wish this podcast was called Dignity City.
Yeah.
It's a good name. No one's used it.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, nobody used the Snack Covenant either.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Dignity City is a good name.
It is a good name.
Maybe once this podcast collapses because of drama.
So like next week sometime.
You can go on your way and create a new podcast and call it Dignity City.
Yeah.
You hyped?
I think we should focus on Rose's question.
Before we do that, I think we should mention our sponsor. Come on, Richie, mention him.
Big Moon Energy. Like many things associated with this podcast, it was something I said once, offhandedly, and then you got Ike to draw it, and now it's a thing.
Yay! Big Moon Energy drink!
I feel like I'm in a story where, I found a genie, and, I accidentally keep wishing for things, and they come true in a way I didn't mean to.
I even came up with a bunch of bad catchphrases.
Do any energy drinks have catchphrases that aren't bad, though? And the problem is that Monster Energy's catchphrase is already Unleash the Beast.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's a good one!
Yeah, but it's already being used.
We just have to replace the word beast with something else.
Well, hang on. Have they trademarked that? Because I think if it was, we should ask Nick if we change one word of someone else's slogan, is that still?
Yeah. Is Nick online?
Well, apparently, it looks like you can, because if you Google Unleash the Beast, you get a professional bull riding website. You get a mental health event, and you get the 13th studio album by the band Saxon.
Well, there goes Richie outdoing me again.
Mm.
Now all my phrases sound stupid. But okay, fine, it's gonna be Unleash the Beast, but you gotta say it in your twisted rage voice.
I can't, I'm too tired. It'll be a carrot for later on. We'll make an actual ad. Oh, fuck, I shouldn't have said that. Now we're gonna have to do it.
Why do you do this to yourself?
You know that big moon energy is like a joke on big dick energy, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
I know. I know memes, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know we came up with it during a podcast?
We come up with everything during a podcast next. We're just recording ourselves talking. And then everything I say is now on record. It's like the fucking Nixon tapes. And that ends up being...
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
So, 10 minutes into the recording, we'll begin to answer the question.
What is the question?
The question is about the third chords.
Right, okay. So the question is, what led to the discovery of needing 3 chords?
I think it's because they tried it with one chord and it didn't work very well.
How so?
Well, they ended up with an idiot spider that lives in a lake. I'm glad you find it funny, because there was a lot of time and effort expended on that. And it didn't work, and you know, they tried very hard and you're just reducing them to a figure of fun. Do we want to talk about what third chords actually are?
Okay.
Because I think there's a lot of confusion about what's going on. Because
we actually did talk about it in various videos. It's in the classic episodes.
Oh, the classic series.
Yeah, the classics.
The old black and white episodes.
Pretty much. But yeah, tell us about what the 3 chords are.
Okay, so the thing about third chords is that, firstly, they're translated differently in the US and the European, scripts. So the weird thing is, I think this is the one that you've got because you're in Canada. It calls them 1/3 of an umbilical cord. I think that's how it works. In the North American script, they're called 1/3 of an umbilical cord.
Yeah, I'll be honest,
Yeah.
I get all my descriptions from Mavs Wiki, so...
Yeah. In the European script, they're just called third umbilical cord.
Mm-hmm.
So that gave the North American audience the implication that there's one kind of umbilical cord and it's been cut into 3 pieces. And if you combine 3 of them, you get a complete one. Which is it's not what's happening, and it's kind of also clearly not what's happening because there's 4. And I think they changed it to 1/3 to maybe just hint again that you needed 3. Or that there were at least 3 to find.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at the way it's written, it's not an umbilical cord. The third umbilical cord is just the name that it's given. It's called it's basically referred to as an umbilical cord, colloquially. That's not its name. It's also called the cord of the eye. And
what's a cord of the eye? What does that mean?
Well, I'm getting to that. If you stop interrupting me.
Okay, Mr. Attitude.
I know, I'm learning from you. As I was saying before I was interrupted, Sin.
Oh my god, what have I created?
This is me on 3 hours sleep, okay? I'm unleashing the beast. The upside is this is as rude as I'm ever going to be. Like, I don't get work, because if I get any more tired, I'll just fall asleep.
Well, do you know how you can keep yourself from falling asleep?
What if I want to fall asleep on my Casper mattress?
No, this was supposed to be a lead into the Big Moon energy drink.
I know, but I'm putting another sponsor in there.
But I think Casper mattress is a real thing.
It is
I
a
don't
real
think we
thing,
can do
yeah.
that.
And look, Casper mattress, if you're listening, this is how frequently we mention you without being paid.
Do you think we're gonna get like a letter from them being like, please stop mentioning us?
The thing is that I've listened to so many podcasts sponsored by Casper mattresses that I can do the Casper mattress ad just off the top of my head.
Really?
Yeah. I know everything Casper
Okay,
mattress
go.
does. Well, you get they pass savings onto the customer by shipping directly from the warehouse to you. And you're given you have 100 nights absolutely free to try out the mattress, and if it's not to your satisfaction, they'll take it back, no questions asked. And I was listening to another podcast where they mentioned that like one of the people on it knew someone whose job it was to dispose of Casper mattresses people had returned. And they just, like, chucked them in a landfill. So there's just a landfill somewhere that's overflowing with returned Casper mattresses.
Do you think we can find it?
What, and resell them?
No, and do like an expose. It's like God's grave of mattresses.
Mattress grave.
Yeah.
Do you think that's at the bottom of God's grave because you'd fall down? But there's just mattresses at the bottom and it cushions your fall.
That's exactly what I was envisioning as I was saying it.
And there's like another version of the Ringed City where instead of there being those like symbols you fall onto, it's Gale and he's driving a truck full of mattresses. He just pulls up under you.
Yeah. So as you were saying...
As I was saying. So back to third chords. There might be a cut there.
Well, I don't know. Maybe,
Okay.
maybe not. I'll think about it. I'll sleep on it.
Okay,
Aww.
we're 16 minutes in, we've mentioned the topic once.
I think we've mentioned it more than once.
I think we've failed to get more than like the intro into it. We keep getting sidetracked by our great sponsors.
Such as Big Moon energy drink. There was another one we made up, but I forgot what it was.
Well, I've had a lot of time to make up new sponsors now that I have a website that finds the car that's right for me. Saving a lot of time, I'm not having to go around talking to different dealers worrying about, like, payment plans.
Is that another real one?
You have to get the name, though.
Oh, yeah, as I was saying, did I tell you about my great sponsorship idea?
No.
We keep mentioning famous brands,
Yeah.
and then when they tell us, like, please stop mentioning us, we don't want to be associated with you,
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, but you have to pay us for us not to mention you anymore.
It's like hush money.
Yes.
Is this legal?
I don't know.
Okay.
Nick, I have a question. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So,
So, third chords.
third chords, yeah.
Okay.
I was asking you what the chord of the eye was.
Okay, so I'll just start again. 17 minutes in. So, like, the first point of confusion is that the North American script and the European script call it two different things. So the North American script calls them 1/3 of an umbilical cord, which presents the idea that it's like one chord that's cut into three parts, and if you get three of them together, you get a complete chord. but like there's 4 of them, so it doesn't really work, and that's not like what's happening. And the European script, which is the one that I have been working off because that's the version we got in Australia, that is like it just calls them third umbilical cord. And if you look at the description, it says, like, this is a third umbilical cord, also called the cord of the eye. So, like, it's not an umbilical cord. If you look at the image you're given, it looks nothing like an umbilical cord. It's this big sort of, like, it actually looks like the inside of an ear, weirdly. It's like this curled up sort of, like, fat organ covered in eyes. It looks like a cochlea, kind of, but it doesn't look like an umbilical cord. The closest thing the game has to an umbilical cord is the living string that you get from the giant brain. And I think that is actually supposed to be an umbilical cord. So
wait, the living string?
That looks the most like an umbilical cord of anything you find. It just looks like...
Let me see it. I don't remember.
It just looks like a rope of like sinew.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Huh. So what is it? Sorry. So what does that mean?
Because like they call it the umbilical. They call it a third umbilical cord, but that's not like it's not what it is. That's just the name for it. It's not actually an umbilical cord. They just call it that.
Are we talking about the living string?
No, talking about the third cords.
Okay.
Okay.
Go
Okay.
on.
So this is like a cultural thing that gets kind of confused in translation. There is a thing in Japan, it is like common-ish, which is that when a child is born, they will like cut off a piece of the umbilical cord and dry it and keep it like as a little like memento in like a box. And the idea is that that's like a little, it's like a representation of the link between like the child and their mother. It's like, here's a little, like the thing that used to connect us, I've kept it. And that's why they refer to this thing as the umbilical cord, because it's this organ that represents the link between the child of the Great One and its parent. And this is why they go on about like, this is not like, this is something that only children of Great Ones have. So it's not actually the umbilical cord. It's a separate organ that they're referring to as the umbilical cord because it does that. So when you have this cord thing, this is the item that mentions like every Great One loses its child, and then again this is another translation thing. They say yearns for a surrogate.
Mm-hmm.
Having looked at like the early draft, there is a better there's a much better translation of that they changed, and I don't know why. That's basically every Great One loses its child and then yearns for its return. So the idea is you have this like relic, this like part of the child that represents the connection between the child and its parent. So when you hold this thing, it's like the Great One that was the parent of that child is kind of drawn to it. Like you can, you know, like the Great One is still yearning for its child back, so you've actually got part of the child. And specifically, you've got the part of the child that's like linking it to the parent. So that's what they are. It's like a locus for that Great One. So when you hold like the part of Ariana's child, like Erden is drawn to that. So what happens with Rom is that Rom's got the... Again, this is not directly stated because blah blah DLC, things removed, etc. Rom has the cord that is from the Orphan of Kos. Like the actual Orphan of Kos, not the Dreamlands Nightmare version, like just the dead version that they cut up at Bergenworth. And Rom is presumably like meditating or something, or just holding this cord thing. And then like that somehow calls upon Kos. And then Kos is like sort of starts like invading Rom's mind and just like fills her with all of this wisdom, and like her insight goes through the roof. And that's what causes her to transform. into this spider thing. And this is what Impostia Sefka is doing. The thing about Impostia Sefka, again, down to like shit being removed and everything. When you kill her under the red moon, she drops the umbilical cord. That led to people thinking, oh, that's the umbilical cord of her baby. Like, she's pregnant under the moon like Ariana was. No, what she has is she has the cord that ascended Rom. She has pillaged it presumably from Bergenworth or possibly Upper Cathedral Ward. We don't really know. But she's somehow gotten her hands on that cord. And under the red moon, she is holding it and she is trying to, like, go through the same thing. She's trying to ascend herself by, like, focusing on this link between, like, linked to the Great Ones. She's like holding it or something under the red moon, and that's why she's saying like, "Oh, there's things in my mind, like I can feel changes happening. I'm not a beast. I'm different. I'm chosen." Because she's trying to recreate what Rom did. Basically, she's trying to turn herself into a Great One, but she's only got one.
Yeah, so she only got one chord. So do you think she knows that she needs more chords, and she just doesn't know how to get them?
I don't know, because like, it's very confusing about what the deal with the Bergenworth lecture hall is at the moment. Because it's just, like, gone. So I don't know if the choir could get to it. It's also possible she's just not very smart. But yeah, at some point, like, after they made Rom that way, they realized, and it's not entirely sure how, like, but they do consider Rom to be a failure. They realized at some point after that you needed 3. And
do you have any theories on how they could have realized that you need 3? Or what led them to that realization or anything like that?
Well, what happens is if you take in 3 of them, that's what triggers when the moon presence touches you. Like, what the moon presence does is it sort of envelops you. And it tries to, like, take you over almost. But then, if you've taken in 3, there's this, like, reaction and the moon presence is pushed back, and that's what makes it hostile. So I think the idea is...
Sorry, go on.
I think the idea is because all the chords come from different Great Ones. If you take in 3 of them, or possibly 4, you have, like, so much kind of eldritch knowledge in your head that the Great One cannot actually control you. Yeah.
But for them to know it, they would have sort of had to go through it. They would have had to been like, okay, I ate or I consumed or whatever I do with the chords. I did that to 3 chords, and then I faced off with the Great One, and then the Great One didn't consume me. Therefore, now I know that I need 3 chords, you know?
Yeah, but that clearly didn't happen, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how would they know you need 3 chords?
They may just have realized, like, Rom wasn't powerful enough. So you got to keep pushing it.
And where, I can't remember, where does it say that you need 3 chords?
It's in the lecture hall.
In the lecture hall, right.
It's in the lecture hall, and it's in the same room that you find a note talking about Lawrence summoning the moon presence. So it's possible that, like, if they knew about that, then they may have had access to the chord that's in the workshop.
Yeah, well, wait a minute, Richie. If Lawrence summoned the moon presence...
Yeah.
Is it possible Lawrence had more than 1 chord at that time?
No, because the whole deal is, like, Bergenworth go to the fishing hamlet to get the chord from the Orphan of Cos. Or at least, like, they have 1 chord after that.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happens is, again, this was, like, deleted, but it's still kind of there. It's still, like, happened, they just don't explicitly refer to it. Is that when Lawrence left Bergenworth, he's like, oh shit, I need my own chord now. Because, like, I want to get in touch with these things, I don't have a chord. So he goes to Canehurst with the old blood, and he's like, hey, why don't you try some of this? And then that, like, revitalizes the Canehurst bloodline, because they're Thumerian. And then Annalise gives birth to her kid, and then Lawrence takes that back to Yharnam, and that's the source of the chord in the workshop. So the whole Canehurst, like, thing with Ligarius is Lawrence trying to get another chord, so he can do what Lawrence did. He can do what Willem did. And then what happens with Mensis is Mensis need their own chord. So they end up going to Meru Hill and grabbing the chord from Queen Yana. So basically, yeah, the three factions all want, they all want their own cord.
Mhm.
But none of them ever have more than one.
Yeah, so that still doesn't answer the question. How did they know you need 3?
Yeah.
But for them to know, somebody needed to face off with the Great One.
Well, that's what Rom did. Like, Rom faced off with the Great One and turned into a spider. So they may have figured, like, you need more than what Rom had.
Yeah, but that's what I'm thinking. So logically, they should have been like, you need more than 1. But they knew exactly that you need 3.
Yeah, but, like, for all you know, like, they thought you needed 3 at that point, and then if that hadn't worked, they would have crossed that out and written 4.
Oh.
Because, like, that's just the state they're in. Like, it may not be right. But, like, it was.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Do you think that maybe they knew because the people responsible for making the game wanted to give us, the player, a hint?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, and, like, there's also a note in the hall that says hunt the great ones.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I think I was wrong. The reference, there's, like, hunt the great ones, I think that's near the note that says 3/3 chords. And what they're getting at is, we need 3/3 chords, so we have to hunt the great ones to get the other 2.
Yeah.
That's what it's referring to.
Yeah, that's what I've been saying all along. What were you wrong about?
Yeah.
No, you said you're wrong about something.
No, I said I was wrong because I think that's in a different room. They're all in the lecture hall. I just got confused about what was in what room. Yeah.
Nobody pays attention to the rooms anyway. Whatevs.
They all look the same.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Does that sort of answer the question?
Well, the question is that they were experimenting with 3rd chords and they realized 1 wasn't enough and that they needed more of them. But, like...
That's the answer. That's not the question.
The question was, why did they need 3? How did they know they needed 3?
The question was, what led to the discovery of needing 3 chords?
Experimenting on shit. But the thing is, like, Mikolash apparently thinks you only need 1 as well. And so does Imposter Yosefka. So, like, yeah. It may be
but
like...
Then again, you did mention it in another podcast where maybe Mikolash thinks he's better than everyone else.
Well,
like,
he
I
does,
only need 1.
yeah. But it's also possible that, like, they just didn't find that note. They do think you only need 1.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just the first one to stumble upon that specific, like, note that says you need 3.
Mm-hmm. Makes sense.
There's also, like, there's a cut mechanic that's referenced in early stuff where, like, you could use the chords or hang on to them. Like, it says, like, use this to gain insight or keep it to ward off evil spirits. And I think maybe the idea they were going for initially was that you wouldn't use the 3 chords, if you had them in your inventory, that would trigger that ending. Because it's kind of confusing the way that you quote-unquote use the chord implies that it's somehow consumed. But it's more just that, like, you absorb what's in the chord. So, like, the chord in the workshop and the chord that Yosefka has, like, they've been used before, but we can still pick them up and use them. They don't disappear. It's kind of like, it's like Lawrence's skull. Like, you just gain the insight from it. Yeah. And, like, I was talking to Mai about it, and she said, oh, yeah, there's like a folktale about a monster that lives, like a storm monster. And that, it tries to suck your soul out through your belly button. Mm-hmm. So if you keep the dried umbilical cord we were talking about before, if you keep that, then, like, that confuses the monster, because it tries to suck your soul out through that, instead of you. And it may be like a riff on that, like, the moon presence would try to like people were talking about how the moon presence is kind of like it's shaped a bit like an umbilical cord, like the head of it's like a cross section, and it like plugs into you. And it may have been initially that like it tries to plug into you like that monster does, but then if you have the dried cords, it gets confused about like where your cord is, and that's what protects you. But from what I can tell, like in the version that we got, the idea is that you've absorbed so much eldritch knowledge that your mind is now operating on the level of the Great Ones, so the moon presence can't control you. And that's why it's so frightened of you. And it's almost like, again, like there's, when you beat the moon presence, there's like a fade, and then it cuts back to you and you're already a Great One. And I think the idea is like, as soon as you take in that third chord, you are already becoming a Great One, and the moon presence realizes this, and that's why it attacks you. As opposed to like beating the moon presence somehow triggers the transformation, because I don't think that's what's happening. I think it's just like,
oh, interesting.
You were already becoming that thing.
So that actually makes sense. If you consume the 3 chords, you start becoming a great... And the red moon is out, right?
Yeah. So you're kind of in the state that Imposter Yosefka's in. Like,
yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Yeah.
And like Willem is trying to do that as well. Like it talks about how Willem sought the chord to like elevate his thinking. So the idea, it's almost like when you put a seashell to your ear and you can hear the sea. He's kind of he's like, if I hold on to this thing, I can hear like the voices of the Great Ones, and I can like tune into them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why like Mikolash is so obsessed with Koz, because that's the only Great One he knows. He's trying to beckon Koz to try to make himself into a new Rom.
Mm-hmm. I didn't think of that, but I really like the idea of us consuming the 3 chords and becoming a Great One, or being in the process of becoming a Great One, because the red moon is out.
Yeah.
I really like that.
But saying the plot's not supposed to make sense.
Now, if the game was really cool, it's like if you consume the 3 chords and just go about your business and not fight the moon presence, like eventually you just turn into a slug.
Yeah.
That would have been fun. Okay. I think that's it.
Yeah, that was surprisingly on topic after the first 15 minutes. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Rose, for that wonderful question.
Thank you, Rose. Sin, do you have any social media? Where can people find you?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can find me on youtube.com/SinclairLore. I have a YouTube channel where I do podcasts with JSF.
How's that going?
You know.
Yeah, I know.
And I also have a Twitter. It's twitter.com/SinclairLore.
Yeah.
I also have a Twitch. It's twitch.tv/SinclairLore, but I don't stream on it. I actually just stream on YouTube.
Do you have a way for people to support you financially that doesn't involve sponsored messages from mattress companies?
That doesn't involve imaginary sponsors?
Well, several of the sponsors we mentioned were real. They just don't sponsor us.
Oh, that's true. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Well, I do have a job. I work full-time.
Yeah.
So I guess my boss supports me financially, but it has nothing to do with these podcasts.
Yeah.
I also have Patreon.
Oh.
Yeah, well, it's our patron, so don't act so surprised.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
The patron provides me the means of eating out and provides Richie the means of buying trolls.
I bought them all. We covered that in the last episode.
Oh, that's true. What are you buying now?
I'm just putting it in my bank account. And I'm basically just using it to support other people on Patreon.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, so we do have a patron, and it's patreon.com/SinclairLore.
Yeah, I think everyone knows I was joking when I asked, like, where your social media was.
Well, I have other social media, too. You opened this door, Richie. Is
you
that
have
Ingrid?
An Instagram? That is Ingrid. Donate to the Patreon so I can give her food. Shut her up.
The other, it's not really social media, but we do have a thing with cute merchandise. It's on Redbubble.
Yeah.
It's the same SinclairLore thing.
Yep.
It's in the description.
Yep.
But nobody buys anything from there. And
No.
I don't recommend it either. It's so expensive.
Yeah. So don't buy that.
No, if you really want something, message me and I'll send you the picture and you can, like, print it in your local printing store.
Yeah, take it to Kinko's or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We also have a Discord at thesnackcovenant.com/Discord. And we have other stuff that you can see in the description. There's also your Twitter and your channel, Richie.
Yeah.
I also have an Instagram that I never visit.
Yeah.
Do you know what the Instagram is?
Is it SinclairLore?
No, it's Instagram.
Yeah, I didn't think it was.
Instagram.com/brilliantstrategist.
Good.
And if you wanna subscribe to Rich's channel, the one that he abandoned, it's youtube.com/jerksanfrancière.
Yeah.
And Rich also has a Twitter, which is twitter.com/Richard_Pilbeam.
Yeah. I might change it so it's actually Richard_Pilbeam with the word underscore. So that no one can find me, because that's Richard_Pilbeam. And then it's like,
Yeah, I've been wanting to talk to you about something.
Yeah.
Because your Twitter is Richard_Pilbeam, but when I try to tag you, I automatically type @Richie, and then Twitter is like showing me a bunch of Richies, and then I'm like, that's not Richie, and then I realize that it's Richard.
Yeah, that's because the Twitter is more professional.
I think you should change your name to Richie Pilbeam.
But you understand that, like, they're the same name.
No, but when I type it, I type Richie, and it takes me a second to remember that Twitter sees you as Richard. It's annoying. So for my convenience, I think you should change your Twitter to Richie Pilbeam.
What if I change the name to that?
What?
If I change the name, but not the handle.
Oh, I don't know.
I hope I know I've given up praying for you to not include things, but I really hope you don't include any of it. I hope this just fades out.
No, but you asked.
Yeah, I was joking, but it's like every joke I tell, you take it seriously and it becomes a thing.
Like, the next thing is we're gonna have to get to work on that Big Win energy drink trailer, which you just suggested in this episode. Okay, well, thank you, Richie.
Thank you, Sin. Thank you, Sin, for, like, everything up until the last, like, 10 minutes. Which I don't thank you for.
Oh, ouch! That hurts. Ugh. Richard Bully Beam.